My brother hit rock bottom and I was the only one there. Years later, after he got rich, he forgot me. Reddit story. My younger brother and I didn't grow up with much, but when he hit rock bottom, I was the only one who showed up. He lost his job, blew through his savings, got kicked out of his apartment, and ended up sleeping in his car. Our parents said he'd made his bed. Our relatives stopped answering his calls, and the only person who took him in, fed him, helped him detox, and paid his debts was me. Years later, after he rebuilt his life, launched a business, and got rich, he started introducing himself as a self-made man. In his success story, there was no mention of the sister who'd kept him alive. Then I found out what he'd really been telling people about me. So when he came to me needing one more favor, I decided it was time he remembered exactly who had been there when he had nothing. Was I wrong for what I did? Tell me what you would have done. Number Reddit stories. Number Reddit story. Number beast Reddit stories. Number family drama. Number sibling drama. Number brother. Number toxic family. Number money. Number success. Number betrayal. Number revenge. Number AIT. Number storytime. Number storytime YouTube. Number USA. Part 1. My name is Rachel. I'm 33 years old, living in the United States, and my little brother once told a room full of people he pulled himself up with no one's help, while I sat there holding the scars from years of saving his ass. Growing up, it was just the two of us and our parents in a small town in Pennsylvania. Our dad worked nights at a factory. Our mom did shifts at a diner. We weren't poor enough for charity, just poor enough that every bill was a stressor. From pretty young, I understood that if we wanted more, we'd have to work for it. I was the responsible child. I got a part-time job at 15, saved for community college, and moved out at 20 into a tiny studio I could barely afford. My brother Mark was the opposite. Charming, funny, reckless. Teachers loved him, bosses tolerated him, friends enabled him. Our parents had a soft spot for him. Boys will be boys, Mom would say when he crashed Dad's old truck. He'll figure it out, Dad would mutter when Mark quit yet another job. By his early 20s, Mark had burned through 3 different retail jobs, a semester and a half of college, a serious girlfriend who finally dumped him after he borrowed her credit card. At 24, I was working full-time as a medical receptionist, paying my own rent, my car loan, and starting to chip away at student debt. At 22, Mark was bouncing between friends' couches and cheap apartments, working enough to party and not much else. Then everything imploded. He called me one night around midnight. "Rach," he said, voice slurred and panicky. "I'm outside your building. Can you buzz me in?" He looked terrible, pale, thin, smelling like stale beer and sweat. His car had been towed for unpaid tickets. He'd lost his job a month earlier and hadn't told anyone. His roommates had kicked him out when he stopped paying rent. He'd been sleeping in his car and sometimes at bars until his debit card stopped working. Our parents' response when I called them the next day? "He made his choices," Dad said. "We're too old for this." Mom added, "He'll just drag you down too. Don't let him stay." But I couldn't put him back out on the street. I made rules. He could sleep on my couch. No drinking in my apartment. He had to apply to at least 3 jobs a day. Half of any paycheck he got would go toward debts. It was rough, really rough. I bought extra groceries, paid his overdue phone bill so he could get calls from employers, covered the fee to get his car out of impound so he could actually get to work. He went through withdrawals those first couple of weeks, not from drugs, but from the constant dopamine hit of going out every night. I watched him shake on my hand-me-down couch and thought, this is what enabling looked like. And this is what undoing it looks like. Slowly, he stabilized. He got a job driving for a delivery company. It wasn't glamorous, but it was steady. I woke him up for early shifts, packed him cheap sandwiches, cheered when his first full paycheck hit his account. When he wanted to blow it on a gaming console, we fought. "You owe 3 months back rent to your old place, and almost $2,000 in tickets," I said. "You can buy toys when you're not 1 paycheck away from living in your car again." He sulked, then grudgingly agreed. Over 2 years, he dug himself out of the hole, paid off his fines, cleared his worst credit card balance, saved enough to move into a small apartment with 1 decent roommate. I co-signed his lease and lent him the security deposit. He promised to pay me back. I told him I believed him, even when I wasn't sure. To his credit, once he got some distance from his worst habits, Mark really did work. He started listening to business podcasts, got obsessed with YouTube channels about entrepreneurship. One day, he came home talking a mile a minute about a guy he met on his delivery route who owned a small logistics company. "This guy built everything from 1 van," Mark said. "He said if you can solve a problem people hate dealing with, you'll never be broke." I want to do that. I'm tired of just driving other people's stuff. He picked up extra shifts, squirreled away money, eventually bought a beat-up cargo van. He started his own little moving hauling side hustle. I helped build him a basic website and Facebook page. Our cousin designed a cheap logo. Within a year, he had more demand than he could handle alone. It was weird watching him transform from the guy I had to drag to job interviews into someone who set his alarm earlier than mine. Then, the pandemic hit. While lots of businesses struggled, Mark's exploded. People were moving, clearing out storage units, ordering furniture that needed assembly. He wore a mask, loaded trucks, and hired his first employee. "I owe you, Rach," he told me once, dropping a takeout burrito on my table. "If you hadn't taken me in, I'd be dead or in jail." I believed him, and I was proud. Fast forward a couple more years, and his little operation had turned into a legit business. 2 vans, 4 employees, contracts with a couple of staging companies and furniture stores. He wasn't Jeff Bezos, but for a kid who'd once slept in his car, it was a huge deal. Here's where the problem starts. Success went to his head. The more money he made, the more his story changed. In conversations with new friends, he'd say things like, "I pulled myself up from nothing. I was homeless once, now I own my own company." Which was true. Sort of. The part he left out was the months on my couch, the meals I paid for, the bills I negotiated payment plans on while he learned to breathe again. At first, I shrugged it off. Everyone edits their own story a bit. But then came one particular dinner where he told the edited version in front of me and made it very clear just how far I'd been cropped out. Last fall, Mark invited me to a little celebration dinner at a trendy restaurant downtown. "You gotta come," he said. "We just landed a big contract with a regional furniture chain. I want my family there." "Is it just us?" I asked, thinking of our parents. "Some friends too," he said. "You'll like them." Our parents ended up too busy to come, the same parents who hadn't let him back in their house when he was broke but bragged about his business to their friends now. I was used to it. At the restaurant, there were about 12 people gathered at a long table. Mark's employees, their partners, a couple of small business owners he'd partnered with. Everyone was laughing, drinking, slapping him on the back. I took a seat near the middle, happy to be in the background for once, just watching him shine. Halfway through the meal, one of the store owners stood up with a glass. "I just want to toast Mark," he said. When we needed a reliable guy to handle our deliveries, he stepped up. Self-made, hard-working, no excuses. To Mark, everyone raised their glasses. I did too. Then someone at the far end said, "Dude, tell the story. How you were homeless and then built this from scratch. It's wild." Mark smiled, leaned back, loving the attention. "Yeah, man," he said. "A few years ago, I hit rock bottom. Lost my job, lost my place, slept in my car. It was rough. But I decided enough was enough. I hustled, started driving for extra cash, saved every penny, bought that first van. No handouts, no safety net. Just grind." My fork froze halfway to my mouth. No handouts, no safety net. I looked around the table. No one there knew that no safety net meant my couch, my grocery bill, my name on his lease. I waited for him to add, "My sister helped me out when I had nothing." It never came. Instead, he said, "People think the world owes them something. It doesn't. You want out, you work for it. Simple as that." The words landed like a slap. After the toast, people started sharing their own little hardship stories. I sat there, smiling tightly, feeling like a ghost in my own life. On the drive home, I replayed everything I'd done in those years. Lying to creditors on his behalf, negotiating down his tickets, skipping heating upgrades in my own apartment to have money for his car repair. And now, in his shiny success narrative, I didn't exist. A month later, it got worse. My cousin sent me a link to a podcast episode titled "From Car to CEO." "Isn't this Mark?" she texted. I listened. There he was, on a local entrepreneur podcast, telling the same story. I was sleeping in my car. No one was there for me, so I had to be there for myself. I didn't want to be a burden, so I never asked anyone for help. I had to pause it when he said, "When you're really alone, you find out what you're made of." I wanted to throw my phone across the room. I didn't confront him right away. I stewed. I vented to a friend. I wrote angry drafts of texts and deleted them. Then, around the holidays, he called. "Hey, sis," he said. "You busy?" "Depends," I said. "What's up?" I wanted to run something by you," he said. "You know how you still co-own that little patch of land Grandma left us? I'm trying to get a bigger line of credit to buy a warehouse, and the bank said if I can put more collateral up, it'd be easier. I was thinking, since you're not using it, maybe you could sign it over to me, just until the loan is approved." There it was. He'd forgotten me when he told his success story, but apparently remembered me when he needed something big. Something in me went very, very calm. "Why do you want my half?" I asked. "You've said many times you did this with no support. Shouldn't your self-made empire be enough?" He was quiet for a beat. "Come on," he said. "You know I didn't mean it like that. It was a story. People want to hear, I built this myself. I can't say, my big sister saved me from myself. It sounds lame." "It sounds accurate," I said. And maybe you should have thought of that before you told the world you had no safety net. He sighed. Is this about that podcast? He asked. I was going to mention you, but it didn't fit the vibe. Don't be petty. Petty, I repeated. That's what you call it when someone notices you erase them from your life story? Rachel, he said, lowering his voice. This is a big opportunity. I can expand. This could change everything. I thought you'd be proud. I was proud when you got off my couch and did the work, I said. I'm less proud you've turned into someone who pretends he did it all alone. You'd like my help now, but you like pretending I never helped before. So you're saying no? He asked. I'm saying absolutely not, I replied. And I'm also saying this. From now on, if you tell your no safety net story in front of me, I will correct you. Loudly. He got angry then. Wow, he said. After everything I've done taking you out, buying you things, you're going to hold this over my head? Maybe I was better off not having family at all. That's the thing, Mark, I said quietly. For a long time, you didn't. We didn't speak for a few weeks after that. Then came my own little opportunity. A local paper decided to do a feature on small businesses that give back. They contacted the community center where I volunteer and asked if we knew any companies worth highlighting. The director said, "What about your brother's moving company? He donated trucks for our food drive deliveries last year." They reached out to Mark for an interview. He was thrilled. Another chance to polish his self-made man image. What he didn't realize was that the reporter also wanted perspectives from people who'd seen his journey up close. The director gave her my number. When the journalist asked, "So, would you say Mark built everything alone?" I had a decision to make. I didn't trash him. I didn't list every bill I'd paid. But I did say, calmly, no one builds anything truly alone. When Mark was at his lowest, he stayed with me. He did the work, but he also had a couch to sleep on and someone to cook him hot meals. I'm proud of how far he's come, but it's important to remember success stories usually have people in the background. The article came out with a paragraph that mentioned me. His sister Rachel housed him and helped him get back on his feet during the early days. No huge exposé, just truth. Mark called me, furious. You made me look weak, he snapped. People are going to think I'm a fraud. If one sentence acknowledging you had support makes you feel like a fraud, I said, maybe your story was too fragile to begin with. He sputtered, then said, don't expect any more favors from me, and hung up. The thing is, I hadn't been asking him for favors. He'd been asking me. He still hasn't forgiven me, in his words, for ruining the narrative. He told a mutual cousin he's done with me. But you know what? I sleep fine. Because I'm done lying for him financially or narratively. He hit rock bottom, and I was the only one there. When he got rich, he forgot me. The day I stopped funding his myths was the day I finally remembered myself. So now I'm wondering, was I wrong for refusing to sign my half of the land over to my brother and for telling the reporter the truth about how he really got started? Should I have kept quiet to support his self-made brand? Or is it fair to draw a line when someone erases you from the very story you helped write? Tell me what you think.